Laguna Seca to Oscherslebens course. Clio warriors lining up with full force. Heat race to split, stand and starts ignite. 2 laps in quali, chase that pole tonight. Bonus points waiting if you keep it clean. In the Renault Clio League, we're chasing the dream. Call Clio League Season 2. Feel the rush, we're coming through. 12 weeks, 12 tracks, 12 fights to the end. From the club to the international bands. Broadcast live for the world to see. Clio League, this is where we wanna be. Clio League Season 2. We race, we fight, we battle through. Heat races first, then feature 1. 15 minutes, pedal down, get it done. Feature 2 with the invert spin. Fight your way back, and the bonus points begin. Incidents free earns you points to spare. Hard charges flying through the air. If you win them both, clean and true, 10 more points, that's how champions do. Call Clio League Season 2. Feel the rush, we're coming through. 12 weeks, 12 tracks, 12 fights to the end. From the club to the international bands. Broadcast live for the world to see. Clio League, this is where we wanna be. Clio League Season 2. We race, we fight, we battle through. Laguna Seca, we race it. Los Sebring Club, we chase it. La Daytona Short, we own it. La Tsukuba, we've shown it. La Monza Junior, we fly. La Knock Hills Twist, we try. Yet Oschersleben B, we'll never say goodbye. Oh, Clio League Season 2. Feel the rush, we're coming through. 12 weeks, 12 tracks, 12 fights to the end. From the club to the international bands. Broadcast live for the world to see. Clio League, this is where we wanna be. Clio League Season 2. We race, we fight, we battle through. One dream, one league. It's me and you. Clio League Season 2.
Welcome to the virtual Winton Motor Raceway located in Victoria, Australia for the 6th round of the Renault Clio League. And away we go. Heat race number 1 is underway, and we head up towards turn number 1. Vukovic tucks in behind and off the circuit. That was Neil Rocks, who Quidland as Bradbury and McBuller side by side for a podium position here. McBuller pushes wide. Bradbury goes for the switchback. It could be 3 wide with Quidland getting involved. He doesn't. Bradbury holds ahead of McBuller here. But here comes Kevin Anfield. Can he try and get up the inside of Matty Quidland? He does. Anfield goes into 5th position as it stands. But he's not happy with that. He goes up the inside of Richard Dempsey. There's contact twice through the corner as there's more cars going wide up ahead. Dempsey somehow keeps ahead. I think we've seen this happen before, that Dempsey was able to hold it as the car switched over, but they keep closer this time. A little bit of a scrape, but once again Dempsey keeps position and Downey has to drop back. But El Hilary returning to the Clio League after a few races off, and he returns in style. Pole position in qualifying and a win in heat race number 1 for Mohamed El Hilary. But we are green and away here for heat race number 2. Jared Swain from pole position has got Philip van der Herk up his inside. They're side by side into turn number 1. Van der Herk wants to get past the D2 driver as quick as he can, and he has dispatched him straight away. But here comes the 55 of Michael Lees, trying to get up the inside of Cook. That's a mistake and a lock-up for Cook. Was there a little bit of contact? I was looking at another screen as that happened, but they are 2 by 2. This heat race number 2 being a little bit more action-packed on the opening lap here. This is Matt Malone being sandwiched in. He's got Bob Poplet pushing him behind. Richard Edgar's back there. Edgar sitting quite pretty in the championship standings right now. At the least so far this season, that name at least. As up the inside of Lees goes Cook, John Cook. Through turn number 1, gets that inside. Will try to keep it there if he can, and he certainly does. Running a slightly different livery to the other Formula Armour drivers, but he is also a Formula Armour driver. Van der Herk has doubled his lead now, as that is a big moment for Jared Swain out of the final turn. Ian Lane needs no second invitation. He dives up the inside. But here is Van der Herk. Didn't start on pole, but took the lead in turn 1, solidified it in turn 2, and will just take the win here in heat race number 2 over the curbing. Van der Herk crashes almost across the line, as does Cod in P2. Ian Lane takes 3rd, and Swain wins Division 2. Over the line, the drivers come for having some fun with that final curbing. We are green and we are away as we head up towards turn number 1. Can El Hilary hold it? Yep. Van der Herk cannot get up the inside like he did in heat race number 2. So it then puts him under attack here from John Cook. The 2 teammates down up the inside. There's contact for Jared Swain, D2 championship leader, with Clayton McBuller. McBuller moved to the right. I don't know if that was to try and let Swain do, but there were just too many position changes there. And that is a shame for Swain. Swain now side by side with Harry Fox. Fox has to let him go, as that was Darney off the jack of the back as well. Mikael Lees, as I think that's a slowdown for Swain. He swings to the inside. It's side by side all over the place. Contact between Swain and Fox. Fox is off, Fox is back on. But it is Mikael Lees leading the way in Division 2. In the Division 2 category right now, and that's another dive. The 55 machine of Mikael Lees trying to go for a position there, but it turns into an overtake opportunity for Cridland here. Matty Cridland through. This is great behind Jared Swain. I was about to say can take the opportunity here, but Fox slams into the rear of Swain. I think that's a front bumper missing now from Fox's machine. Cridland could not get the overtake done on Lees, but Vukovic is now in second position. Malone is up the inside of Henriquez. They're side by side. Henriquez and Malone. There's contact into the final corner. There's more contact. Henriquez is wide, extremely wide, but both of them just about managed to survive the final corner. And Malone now up to 16th place. And pushing it slightly wide and catching that curving, just like we see there, just like Fox does. And up the inside goes Jared Swain for 12th position overall. Line in, as that's Dempsey around in the background. Contact with Henriquez. Dempsey goes off the circuit. Enriquez involved in that. They're both back on. I believe Dempsey caught just a bit too much of the curbing, and it's thrown him off the circuit. Too much in the long run. Is he going to try a different racing line here as we go into turn number 4? Some smoke ahead from the battle ahead, and also from Cook. Lees tried to avoid Cook there. Swerves across the circuit and takes Swain off the track. Coming up to the final turns here. Here comes Mohamed El Hilary on his return. He took pole position. He won heat race number 1, and he will win feature race number 1. Mohamed El Hilary takes the win. And we are away. Zach Thibault launches off the line from first position here, and he tucks it in, and he will hold on to the lead. Neil Rocks looking to hold on to the lead of the D1 field ahead of Enriquez if he's able to. They can, as we jump towards the back of the field now and see if there is anything going on with the drivers towards the back here. As they try to settle themselves down, Henriquez has made his way into second position. McIntyre gets that position down as McIntyre is spun in the background. Dempsey is off in the foreground, and there's about 3 cars side by side through there. And Herc is all the way at the back of here. Some of our fastest drivers really struggling to find a way through as there was contact, and around they all go. As they settle themselves down, the cars went around. There, and that's Downey and Malone without front bumpers. Both of them over the curbing and into the wall. A huge amount of issues there. Is down the order significantly, has gone off at the very start of the lap, as off the track and on the track as Lees takes out Anfield. More contact behind, as that was originally Edgar, I believe. No, that was originally El Hilaire who ran off the track and back on again. Contact, and big contact, and around goes Lees. This race, Lees looks like he has decided to abandon the race, and off the track goes Bob Poplar, and through goes Downey, and it off into the middle of nowhere is Neil Rocks. Team has just moved past Zach Tebow. Tebow's obviously made a mistake very recently, because that is a big amount of time lost all of a sudden for Jared Swaim. For Zach Tebow, because Jared Swaim is now leading Division 2 here, and expected 19. So the laps times being placed in by Henriquez out at the front, just not quick enough to go for the lap a minute. As a big mistake for Henriquez as they pushed too hard through the final turn. Jared Swaim up the inside and into the lead of the overall race here. Here, 7th and 8th, Poplar has got Fox looking for the outside. Fox has to back out of it because he has got to slow down out of the first 2 turns. Bradbury moves through and is now on the back end of Poplar. So that was a slowdown to Fox, has cost him not only the attempted overtake, but he has lost a position too. Just wasn't quite enough time, and the white flag has appeared out of nowhere. And here comes Jared Swaim to win D2 and overall. Jared Swaim, D2 championship leader, wins feature race 2. Luis Henriquez wins the D1 field, and somehow the destroyed machine of Downey takes second in class ahead of Tebow.
Saturday night, the lights come alive, engines roar tonight. We drive from Laguna Seca to Asha Slibben's course. Clio Warriors lining up with full force. Heat race is split, standing starts ignite. 2 laps in quali, chase that pole tonight. Bonus points waiting if you keep it clean. In the Renault Clio League, we're chasing the dream. With the invert spin, fight your way back, and the bonus points begin. Instant
and welcome to round number 7 of Season 2 of the iRacing Renault Clio League. I do apologise for the delays to the start of the broadcast. We were having some issues with the server, but we are here now and we are looking forward to a fantastic event around the Monza circuit, the junior layout at that. Before we get started with this week though, as always, let's have a look at the calendar for this season. Halfway through, we have entered the back end of the second season of competition with the first 6 rounds completed. Drop points have now also been applied so we can see an accurate view of the championship in both divisions. We're here then at Monza for round number 7 before heading across to Thruxton next week. And it's Nürburgring to round out September. In October, we go to Knock Hill back-to-back before finishing this championship at Oschersleben on the October 25th for round number 12. The standings then, as they are right now, it has been an extremely tight Division 2 championship. Division 1 has been dominated by one man, and even with the drop weeks applied, that man remains very much at the top of the championship order. Looking at the top 10 inside Division 1 then, it is Milan Vukovic sitting with 280 points with those drop weeks applied, over 100 points clear of the drivers behind. Stephen Hurd holds on to second position with those drop points. A few changes behind with the points being thrown away. It's Luis Henriquez moves up into third position. He's just 19 points behind Stephen Hurd in second. Al Hilary returning to the championship after a few weeks off last week at Winton. Well, 2 weeks ago, sorry, at Winton, and he went on for a very good heat race and feature race 1. Not so much so in feature race 2. It was Harry Fox who moved down to 5th position with those drop weeks being applied, and John Cook holds on to 6th. Clayton McBullard takes past Neil Rocks as they swap for 7th and 8th position. Ian Lane sits in 9th, and Matt Malone rounds out the top 10 in the Division 1 championship. It's closer though in that Division 2 championship. Here is the top 10 standings after the first half of this season. Jared Swaim, even with the drop points, maintains the championship lead ahead of Riley Downey, and Anthony Hilton remains in third. Swaim has got a substantial 30-point lead, but we're only halfway through the season. That can change in a moment's notice. Richard Edgar moves up into 4th, and Zach Thibault flies up to 5th position in the championship after drop weeks were applied. Anders Hagland falls down to 6th, and Zach Gould down to 7th. Peter McIntyre's in 8th, followed by Aaron Perez, and Linksome Hatfield rounds out your top 10 in the Division 2 field. We are at Autodromo Nazionale Monza here today, running the junior layout, a layout that I have not seen, whether I've raced it or watched someone else race it, in probably about 10 years now. Must have been the last time that I saw it, and that would have been on Game Stock Car Extreme, the predecessor to Automobilista. Like, that's how long ago it has been since I've seen this layout properly run. And I do apologise if I take any moments where I just have an extended pause. I'm recovering from an extremely poor cold, and I'm having as bad a day as the person who was obviously caught in the fence there that we could hear down at turn number 1. Practice was cut short just a little bit today with the delay to the start of the session. So not a 25-minute session, but a 20-minute session for the drivers. Qualifying still 2 laps long. That is drivers going out by themselves, trying to get in the best lap to place them up as far as they can. Of course, the even-numbered drivers, they are going to start in Heat 2. The odd-numbered drivers, they're going to start in Heat Race number 1. Both of those races being just 10 minutes long. All of them will come back together then, and that the results to each of those races will decide the grid for feature race 1. That's a 15-minute race. That race is then going to have a special invert, and we are going to see a defined amount of drivers reversed from the feature race 1 result ready for feature race 2, and I believe that's a minimum of 15 drivers involved in that invert, up to a maximum of the entire field, and we have seen a number of entire field inverts in this series. I can't believe that we are already halfway through this championship. If you want to find out more about this championship and have a look at the current championship standings and the rest of the calendar, plus checking out all of the highlights, head over to beehivebillbroadcasting.com/Renault Clio, and you can keep up to date with the league over there. We are also going to be introducing forum posts over there to keep up to date with all of the events. So we're going to write little posts about each of the races that will go alongside our highlight videos. Be sure to go over there to check those out. Also be sure to join the Discord for the Renault Clio League, where all of the information is involved, so you can get involved in this league as well. You can do that by clicking on the banner underneath the Twitch page, which will take you over to the Renault Clio Discord page. And if you are watching this back on YouTube, then you can click on the link below, which will take you across to the Discord as well. If you are only just catching up to this event and you're expecting us to be underway for qualifying or even heat race 1 at this point, unfortunately we are at a little bit of a delay to the start of this one because of a server issue, which means our practice time was cut short just a little bit. But everything has been pushed back just a bit as well. If you are joining us for the first time though, and you've not already done so, please be sure to hit that follow button here on Twitch to be notified when we go live, so you don't miss any races. It'll also be great if you could support us further by hitting that subscribe button here on Twitch as well, so that we are able to continue bringing you fantastic events along the way. A lot of drivers out here on practice then, and I think it is time that we have a little look at how this session is going right now, as we've got about 5 minutes left. It's always a good idea to just have a jump into practice, because we can see properly the order of these drivers, so we can see who's running pretty well. Second position in the overall standings at the moment, Riley Downey. He's second in the D2 Championship, trying to get past Jared Swain. Jared Swain technically second though. This is the thing. Those the Division 1 drivers, they're the red background drivers. They're all racing in one category. The blue drivers, Division 2 drivers, are racing in another category. Their overall position will not matter. It's their class position that scores them points. So even though Riley Downey has put a lot of drivers between himself and Jared Swain here in practice, if he does the same in qualifying, he is only one position ahead of Jared Swain, but he is protected by a number of D1 drivers in order to try and take the lead in the race. By the end of it, he has a lot more drivers to defend himself against any championship rivals. That being said, Jürgen Nagel moves into second in the D2 class. He's into 9th overall. We do have a new driver racing today. A couple of new drivers, if I'm not mistaken, that we've not seen so far this season. That's for certain. Eric Jägel, he's new this season. He's 23rd overall right now, 9th in class. 10 D2 drivers in class today. 14 D1 drivers. Of course, last week, 2 weeks ago, Rinton was 2 weeks ago now, we saw a very minimal D2 field, and it really benefited drivers like Downey, like Swain, like Hadland, who attended those events, and therefore really benefited from some good results and some good points due to that. Looking up the order as well, trying to see if there's any other names that I've not seen so far today. Cedric Gibrat at the very top there. He's 3rd overall, 2nd in class. That's a new name for me for this season, I believe. I don't believe I've seen him on the championship standings so far this season. we shall see how they go. I would have loved to have shown you the full championship standings today. I just unfortunately didn't get time to do the full championship standings, so we only got the top 10 from both of those classes. We'll get back to having the full championship standings next week, because it is nice to see how the whole field stacks up, because there are almost 50 drivers partaking in this league across the two divisions, so we have a very strong field, and actually it's rather evenly split as well. If I'm not mistaken, there's 23 Division 1 drivers and 22 Division 2 drivers, if I'm not mistaken. I very much might be mistaken. It's been a little while since I've looked at the full championship order and counted how many drivers we have. If you want to get involved in the back half of the series, though, you certainly can. There's no cut-off point to joining this league. You can join whenever you would like to. So if you'd like to get a feel for Season 2, prepare yourself ahead of Season number 3. Certainly jump in the back end of this season. Get your feel your feet, find your way, and get situated with how the league runs, because it is very different to a lot of other leagues on iRacing, especially road racing leagues with the heat races, with the reverse grid. 4 races are competed in. You race in 3 every single week that we go racing, which is most weeks. We're just dropping weeks when there are special events, of course. We just had our second break last week. We're going to have our third and final break, I believe it is our third and final break at the start of October. It is going to be our third and final break at the start of October before the Knock Hill rounds. So that's the final time that we will take a week off. We have got a few races back to back from now until then, of course. Less than a minute and a half left here in the practice session before these drivers are going to be heading up onto the track for 2 laps of solo qualifying, just like you would in an official series, to get yourself as far up the order as you can. Odd number drivers, that's first, third, fifth, so on. They are going to be your grid for heat race number 1. Your even number drivers, Philip van der Herk, Downey, Fox, for example, that they're sitting in 2nd, 4th and 6th right now, they would be starting heat race number 2. Apologies as I continue to try and get over this cold. Conrad Bradbury moves up the order to 5th there quite nicely. Some good times here, and quite close actually between Vukovic and Downey. Now we saw Jared Swain getting involved in that fight quite a bit on the head. Now that is an interesting sight. That is a very interesting sight here at Monza. Is that going to continue? Are we going to see rain? Rain has been forecasted across the day today, as is real life at the at Monza. So, are we going to see rain in qualifying? And if so, how wet's it going to be? Is it going to be better to get out as soon as possible? The rain has stopped, but the circuit is damp. Is it going to be better to go out early or to go out late? That's the question. Are the drivers going to be out on wet tyres or dry tyres? That's another question, and I can see a mix of both as we sit on board the wrong one, apparently. There we go. This is Matt Malone in the 83. He's out on wet tyres. Luis Enriquez, Eric Jägel, they're out on dries. Look at that circuit, though. I think they're going to very quickly realise they need to get into the wet compound tyres. Now, let's get... we are going to get the gap up, but we are going to show the tyre compound. We've done this before, where we've shown the tyre compound of each driver, because that gives us a much better idea of how they're doing out here. I'm trying to see if I can get this information up for us so that we can see the tyre compound. Here we go. Matt Malone's on the wet. We're going to have wet. It looks like most drivers out on the wet. Eric Jägel is not. He's out on dries. We're riding on board Matt Malone, though. We're going to do a lap of the Monza Junior layout here and see how he goes. It is slightly wet out on the circuit. Moves across the right hand side. You've got puddles there in the middle and on the apex. Keep it just away from the apex so you're not running through the puddle. Move to the left. Again, you can see the water on the racing line. It's unsettling Matt Malone. He runs slightly wide as we go back on to the GP circuit here at Monza and head up towards the Parabolica, the final turn of the Grand Prix layout and of the Junior layout. Very short, quick circuit. It's almost essentially an oval, this circuit that we're running, just with a little bit of a chicane in there. We're going to see a lot of slipstream. I'm sure we're going to see a lot of dive bombs up towards turn 1 and very possibly into the Parabolica. Matt Malone, though, up towards the timing line right now. We're going to see who is the first to cross the line. It looks like it might be Gwilym who's the first across the line. What time can Matt Malone do? It's a 102.8. It's not the fastest. I can see a 102.4. I can see a 101.8 from Harry Fox. And hopefully we'll get that those times up on the side in a moment. They like to not always work for us, but we certainly have got some of the times in. As I've lost my mouse, so now we can't actually do anything, which is always great. There it is. No, I've lost it again. There it is. Okay, let's see if we can get these timing tower up for us so that we can see what the current qualifying order is. And it's Philip van der Herk who goes fastest right now. Can we ride on board with Vukovic, who is now the fastest? He comes up towards turn number 1. We'll see his lap and how he goes. Much wider, and he actually throws it off. So Vukovic, he's 4 tenths faster, but he's not going to find an improvement on this lap because he has gone up. This is Philip van der Herk. He has got... I'm trying to find... There we go. Try to find... Actually, if we get the current lap for us. There we are. And we can see how Philip van der Herk does. He comes through the final turn here. Can he improve at all? He is 4 tenths down. He's only 4 thousandths ahead of Fox, but he goes off at the Parabolica. Matty Cridland moves up into 4th. We're seeing a lot of the D1 drivers at the front. Riley Downey was fast in practice, not as fast here in qualifying. He goes 6th overall. Richard Edgar has gone 2nd overall, faster than Philip van der Herk, and the Division 2 driver there. Watching Riley Downey here. Downey, also a Division 2 driver. Onto the GP loop and up towards the final turn. Ian Lane goes into 5th. Anders Hagland has gone into 9th. Matt Gwilym has gone up into 2nd, which I believe is one of his best qualifying sessions so far this season. Cedric Gibrat, new driver this season, goes into 2nd, knocking Gwilym down to 3rd. Richard Edgar now down to 5th because Mark Codd moves up to 3rd. Can Riley Downey find any time here? It is wet tyres for everyone as people abandon the dry tyres in the end. Across the line goes Downey. And it goes 2nd overall. Riley Downey goes less than a 10th behind Vukovic. He flashes his lights. He is super happy with that. And so he should be. What a great lap that was. As it looks like that is everyone, very possibly, I think, with lap times on the board. So that is going to be... Yep, that is going to be session over here, qualifying over, and we are going to have a look at how our grid is going to line up. And I'm going to see if I can get something to work here. It probably won't, but we can certainly give it a go. Yeah, it didn't. Whatever it was that I was trying to do, didn't actually. Now everything's broken. Right, left-hand side is going to be your starting grid for heat race number 1. I wanted to try and get it to show just heat race number 1, but I don't think I'm able to do that until we're actually gridding up. And in that 30 seconds, I'm going to try it. I'm going to try and do the grid in the 30 seconds that we will be down on the field so that we can see an accurate picture of the grid and not a double grid that makes no sense to anybody who doesn't quite understand the way that this series works. We're giving things a new go here. We're going to see how it gets on. But we are looking forward to this one. Not a lot of corners, of course. Just 1, 2, 3, 4 corners. 4 corners here, I would count it as. With the little bit at the junior part where you turn right, left, right again, and then obviously the parabolica as well. I have gone through so much tissue here as I am recovering from an illness, so I'm just going to take a moment whilst we wait for the grid to form. Okay, we are preparing for this grid to form. I should have just enough time to talk you through the grid order for heat race number 1. Here we go. We've got Milan Vukovic ahead of Gibrat. Then it'll be Gwilym behind, and behind him is Van der Herk. Then it's going to be In Lane and Matty Cridland. Oh, you've hit the wrong button, and we're not going to be able to see the rest. Then it's going to be Richard Dempsey and Bradbury, followed by the D2 drivers. We've got Jared Swain ahead of Zach Gould, Joshua Lloyd, and Edward Ayala. That is the 12 drivers taking part in heat race number 1 today, and it's actually going to be all the D1 drivers at the front, all the D2 drivers behind, and it's going to be Jared Swain leading the D2 field in heat race number 1. Swain leading the Division 2 Championship. Drivers getting down onto the field here. It's going to be 10 minutes, which around this circuit is going to be about 10 laps long. It's a short one. It's a quick one. 2 main overtaking opportunities going to be down at turn 1 and into the parabolica. I think we are going to see a lot of dive bombs into both of those corners, especially following the straights where we're going to be at a little bit of slipstream. It's still wet out there. Drivers still on wet tyres. We're just waiting for the rest of the field to fill up, but that's showing the grid whilst they're gridding up is certainly the way that we're going to do this now, because that was a lot easier to understand how that grid worked. 8 D1 drivers in this race, 4 D2 drivers in this race, all 4 of those D2s at the back. Jared Swain is on dry tyres as we prepare ourselves here for heat race number 1. We head up towards turn number 1. We're green, we are away. As the water is certainly still there, how is Jared Swain going to fare on a dry set of tyres? But it's Vukovic leading the way ahead of Gibrat and Gwilym into turn number 1. Through the left hand and up back to join on to the Grand Prix loop. The drivers settle themselves down. The D1 field has pulled away from the D2 field, but there is Jared Swain. He's onto the grass. Those dry tyres, not the way to go. We saw this at Tsukuba a few weeks ago with the split tyre strategy. Jared Swain's gone for the dry tyres, but you can see by the spray it is just going to be way too wet for them to come into effect to any part of this race, even with 10 laps of racing. Jared Swain, the D2 Championship leader, goes from first in class to last in class on the opening lap of this race on the dry tyres. Philip van der Herk moves up into 3rd position. He has got past Matt Gwilym on that opening lap. Newcomer Cedric Brat is holding on to 2nd, is close to Vukovic here. How's the slipstream going to play out as they head up towards the parabolica? You can see how much those wipers are going. How well can these drivers see? That's the question. I'm sure we're going to ride on board shortly so we can find out just what it's like on board. But here comes Van der Herk up the inside of Gibrat. And he gets the inside line and he makes it stick just. He runs slightly wider, but he makes it stick. Gibrat is going to push back through, I'm sure, up towards turn number 1. Not too bad. with the spray as we ride on board Jabrat. He moves to the left-hand side. He wants to get this position back all the way towards the wall. Careful because of the puddles, but he is going through the inside of Philip van der Herk. Can Jabrat hold the inside of Van der Herk into turn number 1? It looks like he backed out just a little bit earlier. Van der Herk on a slightly wider line. Contact with Matt Quillen. Quillen onto the grass. Luckily, it's a slow part of the circuit. He is able to hold it. Not able to make a way through and take advantage of Jabrat. Goes slightly slowly. Van der Herk off the circuit just in front. Is that going to give them an opportunity behind? Richard Dempsey trying to battle with Matty Quidlin, keep him behind. And they do at the moment. Vukovic taking advantage of the battle that's going on behind and is pulling a lead out front. Almost a second. Through the final turn, the Parabolica. Van der Herk doing a wider line. Jabrat doing the tighter line. And it looks like it's given Jabrat actually a nice run as that was Dempsey sliding into frame ahead of Matty Quidland. He holds it though. Ian Lane moves all the way to the right-hand side, gets back over to the left-hand side towards turn number 1. Looks like there could be an overtaking opportunity here. Bradbury around the outside of Dempsey. No, because here comes Quidland back out and it's 3 wide. And around they go. Dempsey's into the wall. Quidland, Bradbury, both into the wall. That's going to give Zach Gould the overall position. He is leading the D2 field. Bradbury down, Matty down, Richard Dempsey in 6th, has lost about 2 seconds to those ahead. Here comes Ian Lane. He's looking to get up the inside of Matt Gwilym. He's too far back up towards the final turn though. Different racing lines and you can see the run that Lane is getting here out of the Parabolica up towards the timing line. He moves to the right hand side all the way over to the wall yet again, giving loads of room. Van der Herk going to the inside, Jabrat looking to the outside, but here comes Ian Lane up the inside of Matt Gwilym. Jabrat goes up the inside of Van der Herk as well. Van der Herk slightly wide. Lane's got that position. Jabrat's got the position as well. Jabrat up to 2nd once more. Van der Herk backed out to 3rd, but could do it on the exit here. He swaps over to the inside. He is going to get the inside line, heading up to the Parabolica. As they are side by side, Van der Herk just putting a toe ahead. And he is later on the brakes. Earlier from Jabrat here. Is he going for the exit? He does that tighter line, which does seem to be working really well in the Renault Clios. You can see Vukovic has got a substantial lead here. This is the fight for 2nd in class, 2nd overall. A lot of spray as Lane and Gwilym run over the puddle. Van der Herk goes defensive up the inside. It's Jabrat on the outside. Lane on the inside of Gwilym. And once again, Jabrat looks the inside of Van der Herk. Van der Herk gets it this time though. Good speed on the exit. All of them running through that water puddle on the inside. They are starting to disperse it. That's going to help heat race number 2, where we possibly could see the wet tyres come into play. Joshua Lloyd out of this race. A lap down at the very least. Jared Swaim is going to get 3rd then. Even on those dry compounder tyres, he's still going to get a podium finish. Because of the way the fields have been split. Only 4 D2 drivers in this race. We head up towards the line once more. We've got about 4 more laps to go as we cross the line. It's Van der Herk ahead of Jabrat. Lane ahead of Gwilym. But here goes Jabrat to the outside. He's got more of an overlap this time. He's going to brake early yet again. Van der Herk had the speed last lap. He's a wider line. Has he got the speed on the exit? He's going to get that left-hand side, that inside line. He does get it. Van der Herk holds on to 2nd. Jabrat still trying to find his way through. Lane seeing if he can find himself onto that podium. Van der Herk slightly wide onto the grass. With how wet it is, it just causes him to slide. It's slowed Jabrat down a little bit. Here comes Ian Lane. Lane moves to the right-hand side. It's going to be inside, heading up towards Parabolica. They're side by side. Is Lane going to brake earlier or brake later? He's going to brake on normal sort of time. They're still level, but Lane has got that inside line now. Who's going to get the faster run on the exit? That tighter run, that shorter run is going to help Lane, who's got greater speed though. It does look like Lane is going to have this inside line here. Matt Gwilym doesn't know where to go behind, but it is going to be Gibrat's position. Lane looks up the inside. Gibrat dives for it, goes defensive. Is that going to make him go deep? It is, but not deep enough to invite Lane in for an opportunity. Matt Gwilym closes in once more. The 4 drivers here battling it out for P number 2. It is close between all of them. As we head up towards the Parabolica. Again, if you're just jumping in, I apologise for the momentary breaks as I do have a cold. I'm just occasionally blowing my nose. I do apologise. Heading up towards the Parabolica though, and it is Ian Lane behind Gibrat. Gibrat behind Herc. And Matt Gwilym chasing down. This is the furthest apart they have been all race long, but Ian Lane is not giving up on Cedric Gibrat just yet. He is looking to take 3rd position in this race and take the podium. He's onto the outside line. He's a little bit wider, not close enough to do anything there, but he dives to the inside. Is this going to force Gibrat to dive to the inside? Maybe go a bit later on the brakes. He certainly goes to the inside. Not deep this time. He gets it perfectly on line. He knew Ian Lane's game. He knew that Lane was just trying to psych him into going a little bit deeper, and he holds that position. It looks like Van der Herk might be safe here as we're coming up towards the white flag lap, as certainly as Gibrat runs onto the grass. Here comes Ian Lane. He's going to have a little bit more speed here. He's going to have to go to the outside because Gibrat holds the inside here. That inside tighter line has run stronger, but we've not really seen side-by-side action into this corner yet. Who is going to come out on top? Lane has to push it wider. It is the wider line, so it's the longer line. Gibrat's got it. Is Lane going to be able to find any additional speed on the exit by running that wider line though? Or is Matt Gwilym going to get involved? There is the white flag. This is the last lap, and the answer is Matt Gwilym is going to get involved here. Gwilym can get to the inside of Ian Lane here for 4th position. Gibrat goes defensive, and Lane goes straight on. As Van der Herk and Gibrat go into the wall, it's white flag lap. That's not the end of the race. What's going on? Richard Dempsey moves into 3rd. What just happened? What just happened? Richard Dempsey is in 3rd. Cedric Gibrat in 4th. Matt Gwilym in 5th. Ian Lane in 8th. Look at that damage on Gibrat's car. But Vukovic is going to win. What happened? Milan Vukovic wins Heat Race 1 here at Monza for round 8. But what on earth happened behind? Just Ian Lane going straight on at turn 1. Matt Gwilym and Cedric Gibrat going into the wall at turn 1. What happened there? That race is over. What a crazy race that was. What on earth happened? But it has caused the race results to mix up on the last lap there. After 10 laps of racing, Vukovic was your winner ahead of Philip Van der Herk. Richard Dempsey took 3rd somehow ahead of Matt Gwilym, Matty Quidlan, Zach Gould, Ian Lane, Conrad Bradbury, Cedric Gibrat, Edward Ayala, Jared Swaim and Joshua Lloyd. Let's have a look at the grid then for heat race number 2, which will be starting in a moment's time. Here we go. Let's have a look at the grid. I knew it was coming. For heat race number 2, it's still wet out there. You can still see the puddles out there. So I'm sure we'll still be seeing wet tyres. Riley Downey is going to start this one on pole position. The D1 and D2 drivers much more mixed than they were. Well, they weren't mixed in Heat Race 1. They're mixed here in Heat Race 2. So it's going to be Downey ahead of Codd. Then it's Edgar ahead of Fox, Vox and Hagland. Then it's going to be Luis Henriquez, Jurgen Nagel, Risto Westman and Matt Malone rounding out the top 10. And then it is going to be on Neil Trotter and Eric Jägel at the back of the field. Twelve drivers in this race. It is split even. 6 D1 drivers, 6 D2 drivers, and they are mixed up on the field with a D2 driver leading the way of Riley Downing. 10 minutes on the clock. That's expected 10 laps of racing once more. And hopefully no last lap shenanigans. We are away. A slow start from Eric Jägel at the very back. He's then disappeared off of my timing screen, and I think we may have lost Eric Jägel from the race. It was Neil Trotter who actually got slow. No start from Eric Jägel, it seems, but a nice start from Riley Downey out front. He is leading the overall race, and he is fighting, of course, for the D2 championship right now. Mark Codd leads the D1 field ahead of Harry Fox. It's then a mix of D2 drivers. It's Hagland, Edgar and Nagel. They're fighting it out for the podium in division number 2. And at the back of this train, this is the mix of D1 drivers. We've got Neil Rocks. We've got battling with Malone, Henriquez, Westman. This is Rocks. He's side by side with Nagel. Nagel goes wide through the parabolic. He's going to cut back on. He's going to stay just out of the way though, so Henriquez and Matt Malone can get through. It's side by side now from Luis Henriquez and Matt Malone as they come across to the timing line for the first time to complete lap number 1. 11 cars in this race as we go on. Matt Malone has held on to 4th in class out of Luis Henriquez. Are we going to see the drivers stop for turn 1? No, Matt Malone! Too much speed into turn 1 and he goes off. He must have been watching Ian Lane in heat race number 1 because he's assumed the racing line is straight on there. But it is going to continue for Luis Henriquez. He's in 4th and will try to chase down Neil Rocks, who is the podium in the D1 field. Anders Hegland, Richard Edgar, they are the rest of the podium in the D2 field. Riley Downey leading the way overall, which is great for him. The points, of course, just for winning the D2 field. But with a poor result, well, I say poor result, it was a 3rd place result. Obviously for his championship contender of Jared Swain in heat race number 1. He would have been hoping for a little bit more, not quite playing out there. Anders Hagland is side by side with Richard Edgar here. Edgar holds that outside line. Anders Hagland just gives it to him for the moment, and he allows Edgar to hold on to 2nd in class. As we saw a driver coming out of pit lane last time around, that was Eric Jägel. He's 2 laps down, but it looks like he has joined the circuit now. So some issues for him, obviously, at the start, but he is now out on track. Hopefully we'll get him onto the overlays on the screen for you, but he is certainly on my live timing. If you want to see the live timing, head over to beehivebillbroadcasting.com/Renault Clio, and that will take you to the Renault Clio League page, and on there is the link for the live timing of this series. And that live timing right now will show you that Anders Hagland is just 0.2 of a second behind Richard Edgar, looking for 2nd in the D2 field. Mark Codd has just gone purple that lap. He is leading the D1 field, but I'm sure he is going to want to win the overall race as well. It's always nice to have that little bit of extra bragging rights, even if the position doesn't come with any additional points. Water still very much on the inside of these corners, especially through that junior section as Anders Hagland goes onto the grass. A little bit of a wobble as he comes back on. A lot of drivers pushing quite hard there. Of course, bonus points on offer for clean racing. Complete a race without any incident points. You can get additional bonus points. More bonus points on offer. The most bonus points on offer for doing that are in feature race 2. And that's because of the invert grid. It is, of course, a lot harder to get a clean race because there is a lot of drivers charging through the field. Get a clean race now, though, you are still going to find some bonus points. The drivers are going to want to try and keep it clean. How's Mark Codd going to be feeling about that? He's 2nd right now. He's 1.5 tenths behind Riley Downey. Is he going to try and keep it clean? Is he going to try and take the lead? He backs out. a little bit earlier. There's a little bit of a room between himself and Riley Downey, but he has closed up what was a little bit of a gap there. So I think that Mark Codd is going to get the opportunity to get past Riley Downey here. We're halfway through this race, and when we come across the line, we're going to have completed 5 laps of the expected 10 that we think we're going to see here. Up towards the final turn here at Monza through the Parabolica. Is Mark Codd going to go for the inside? He certainly looked like he was moving for the inside, probably just trying to place himself in the mirrors of Riley Downey. Let him know that he is there. Is he going to have an opportunity? Oh, he is going to have an opportunity. Is he going to take that opportunity is the question. Up towards turn number 1, and keeping an eye on the gap between Neil Rocks and Luis Henriquez, as well as that's a big swerve from Mark Codd. What is Codd doing? He's weaving side to side to side. I think that could possibly just be to say, I'm not going to go past you, or is that possibly to try and psych Downey out? Henriquez on the back end of Neil Rocks out of the junior section of that circuit there, as Henriquez is looking to try and take 3rd in class in the Division 1 category. Henriquez benefiting a little bit from the drop weeks that were applied. He has moved up the order with doing that. Onto the brakes we go. Henriquez closes to the back end of Neil Rocks. Who is going to get a better exit though? It certainly is looking drier at this stage of the race. Could we potentially see dry tyres within feature race 1? Could it be like Tsukuba, where we see a mix of wet and dries? This is Codd. He's looking to go the inside of Harry Fox. He doesn't take it. He decides he doesn't want to make that move, which is fair enough. He's going to stay behind for now. As Luis Henriquez once again quite close to the rear of Neil Rocks here. This could be an opportunity up towards the Parabolica if he really goes for it. Looks to the inside here. It could potentially be a move. He's got nice amount of speed. Do you know what? There was just that. It looks like the smallest amount, but Neil Rocks moves slightly to the right, and I mean a minuscule amount. And I think it just scared Henriquez. Well, not scared him, but just made him back off a little bit. Just wait until the heavy braking zone of turn number 1. That's your greatest opportunity. And in fact, he is going to really try and take it. No! He's too far to the right. He gets the water. He tries to stick it to the right. He gets the puddles that are up against the pit wall. And he's not going to be able to take advantage of turn number 1. Is Anders Hagland going to come into play in this D1 fight here? Anders Hagland is ahead of them overall. He has no reason to... Oh, a little bit of a slide there from Neil Rocks. And here comes Luis Henriquez. He moves to the inside. As Mark Codd looks to the inside of the overall race lead. Mark Codd takes the overall race lead. We will continue watching this because it is for a class position. Henriquez moves into 3rd in class past Neil Rocks. Riley Downey fighting back at it. Up at the front though. They continue side by side. With just over 1.5 minutes, this is 2 laps to go. Mark Codd has the inside line into turn number 1. And he gets the position. Downey doesn't fight it too hard on the exit. I know that if it was for a class position, he would have fought a little bit harder. But he has a real opportunity here to take back the overall lead onto the final lap if he wants it. Anders Hagland onto the grass behind. Is he going to come into play in the fight for 6th position? And this is, of course, the fight for 3rd in class. Neil Rocks and Luis Henriquez. Rocks has made his way back past Henriquez for that 3rd position. Riley Downey here has an opportunity to take back the overall lead up towards turn number 1. The driver, Harry Fox, down pit lane. Black flagged. I didn't see him get that penalty before he entered pit lane, but he's gone down pit lane. It is a penalty. Harry Fox, for some reason, he dived down pit lane before that penalty came out. So I don't know why he's gone down pit lane. I think that penalty is possibly through speeding, not through an incident. Not sure why Harry Fox gone down, but it has promoted Matt Malone to 9th overall and 5th in class. Is Riley Downey gonna make the move for the overall race win here in heat race number 1? There's a little bit of a nudge. There's contact. There's contact. They're two different classes, but they are fighting for the overall win. But it is going to be Mark Codd who wins heat race 2 here at round 8. Riley Downey wins Division 2, and it is Richard Edgar the next across the line. Neil Rocks takes 2nd in class ahead of Luis Enriquez because Harry Fox pitted for some reason. As Downey is dead. He's dead. That's a shame. He was a good racer. That is a real shame. As we call a close to that one. Let's see if we can quickly get our results from heat race number 2. It is Mark Codd winning that one ahead of Riley Downey. Richard Edgar in 3rd, ahead of Neil Rocks and Luis Enriquez. Anders Hagland came behind, followed by Risto Westman, Neil Trotter, Matt Malone and Jürgen Nagel. And at the back of the field, Harry Fox went down pit lane for some reason, getting a penalty. And Eric Jägel, who started the race 2 laps behind after coming out of pit lane late. We are getting ourselves ready for the start of the next race, however. Oh, and that is not the grid for the start of this one. Let's very quickly run you through the grid. It is going to be Vukovic ahead of Codd, ahead of Van der Herk and Downey, Dempsey and Edgar. Then it's going to be Gwilym, Rocks, Cridland, Henriquez, Gould and Hagland. Following that is Lane, Westman, Bradbury, Trotter, Gribrat, Malone, Ayala, Nagel, Swain, Fox, Lloyd, Jägel at the back of the field. The drivers lining themselves up and getting ready for the start of feature race 1. It is the race with the most points on offer. Feature race 2 will be our reverse grid with the most bonus points on offer, of course. So it is going to be Vukovic from the front with Codd here. Riley Downey starts directly ahead of Richard Edgar, but championship rival to Downey starts all the way down in 21st position overall. Downey starts in 4th. Of course, that is only 8th in class, I believe. I will be able to say that confidently in a few laps' time once my timing updates with the class positions. But I can say that he is significantly down the order in comparison to Riley Downey. This could really boost Downey's championship fight. And as Hagland as well. He's in 4th in class. If he can get himself into the podium and Jared Swain stays towards the back, we could see some issues there. I'd love for AtVo to update so I can see how long it is for them to grid. Now we know it is 15 minutes here for feature race number 1. It's green. We are away up towards turn 1. It is still wet out on track. Everyone on wet tyres, including Jared Swain, who tried dry tyres in the heat. It did not work. He is on to wet tyres here in feature race 1. Downey trying to fight with Van der Herk out at the front of the field as there's a little bit of contact behind. Drivers going side by side, getting a little bit of contact in, but they have all straightened themselves out. I don't believe that anyone went around. It was just a little bit of contact. This is side by side though. This is Anders Hagland and Cedric Gibrat. Gibrat was obviously fighting for a podium in the heat race 1 before whatever it was that happened on the final lap. Is he going to push wide here at the Parabolica? He is. He's off into the runoff. He is going to fall down a number of positions as he returns to the track side by side with Matt Malone. Malone is going to take that position though up towards the front, and it is Vukovic who has pulled a significant time already over this side-by-side fight of Cod and Van der Herk. It is Cod up the inside, Van der Herk on the outside, Van der Herk on the grass, as was Edgar behind. That gives Cod second. It gives Riley Downey third overall. We're going to get our time. Now there's contact between Cod and Downey. Downey moves into second overall. Cod down to third. Richard Edgar fell down, but has moved back past Matt Gwilym. And you say Matty Gwill. As this is a side-by-side moment now. Van der Herk in Cod. Van der Herk holds on to second in class ahead of Cod. That's Richard Dempsey behind. Dempsey benefited from whatever issues it was in heat race number 1 on that last lap. He moved from 6th to 3rd. It gave him a great grid position for this race. He's inside the top 5 overall. Is he going to be able to do anything more with that as this race continues on? Let's have a look a little bit further down the order. This is Matt Malone behind Gibrat up towards turn number 1. His position is changing just up ahead as well. That was Henriquez getting past Lane in towards turn number 1. Lane will now try to do something on the back at him. Matt Gwilym gets past Neil Rocks. Neil Rocks, that driver on the left-hand side there of the camera shot, right-hand side of the circuit. He moves back across to the racing line. Can Ian Lane doing something here against Luis Henriquez as they head up towards the final turn? Lane's got the inside. He brakes later. Henriquez looking for the exit, but this could invite Jared Swaim into the mix behind there. Swaim has made it into the top 3 in class. Anders Hagland is last of all the drivers still on the lead lap in this race. Not sure if Neil Trotter is in the race or out at this stage. Up towards turn number 1 though, Henriquez pushing Lane up towards turn 1. Swaim getting pushed by Bradbury. Bradbury now looks up the inside of Swaim. Swaim looks up the inside of Henriquez. It looks like he could try to make that position. Henriquez on the slightly wider line. It's not going to play out. And Luis Henriquez holds on to 11th overall. Jared Swaim has 4 D1 drivers between himself and Richard Edgar, the man in second in class. Ian Lane now side by side with Neil Rocks. He gets that overtake and he moves up to 9th position right now as Jared Swaim just behind Luis Henriquez, still under attack by Conrad Bradbury. Can he do anything with that? As it looks like Matt Gwilym is falling down the order. Where is he? I've lost him. There he is. He's gone off at the Parabolica. Matt Gwilym has gone around at the Parabolica, was fighting for the top positions here today. The reverse grid, depending on how many are involved, could be his saving grace in feature race 2. That's Richard Edgar running slightly off the circuit just up ahead, but a shame for Matt Gwilym. This is side by side though. Jared Swaim, Conrad Bradbury. Bradbury has finally made that move past Swaim. Swaim is not going to let him keep it easily though. Bradbury onto the grass. Here is Swaim up the inside. It's going to give him the inside line. Just about. He's got a toe in there. Just on the rear quarter panel of Bradbury. It looks like he's lost it though. Is he still going to dive for on the late brakes? Yes, he is. But it is going to be slightly on the water. He aquaplanes slightly wide into Conrad Bradbury. It's 2x2 in the rain. We're here at Noah's Ark. Up towards the timing line. Swaim and Bradbury side by side. Matt Malone and Cedric Gibrat side by side through the Parabolica up towards turn number 1. Who's going to come out on this on top? Is it going to be 3 wide? Matt Malone pushing Conrad Bradbury. Here comes Gibrat to make it 3 wide with Malone and with Swaim behind. And Malone goes off the circuit into the grass with that. There was almost no way that 3 wide into turn 1 in the wet was going to work. And Matt Malone is the driver who is at the short end of that stick. He falls to 11th in class, 14th overall. We are only 6 minutes into this race. We still have just under 10 minutes, the length of a heat race. 24 cars. Neil Trotter is a lap down, but he is still in this race. He has not given up. He continues to fight. continuing to fight also is Philip van der Herk. He is behind Richard Dempsey. Dempsey holding third in class, and that final podium position slots at the moment ahead of van der Herk. Up towards turn number 1, van der Herk holds the outside line though, but he is extremely wide. He's onto the grass. Van der Herk gives up that position. As they go back onto the GP loop and up towards the Parabolica, it looks like Harry Fox has now fallen down the order after pitting for some reason in the second heat race, which we could argue was because of a penalty, but that penalty certainly appeared after he pitted. He's now gone round, and it looks like he's fallen actually behind Matt Gwilym, who obviously went around at the Parabolica and took a while to recover. So there's something major that's also happened to Harry Fox, unfortunately for him. But you can just see it is still very wet out there. I thought by the end of this one we might see some dry tyres. I think we're going to see the wet tyres all the way through this weekend. 7.5 minutes left on the clock as we head up in towards turn number 1. We're watching the fight for about 7th position. This is Neil Rocks in the centre of our screen. He's got Ian Lane ahead of him. Manny Cridland leading that fight. He's got Luis Henriquez just behind. As we head towards the final turn here, it looks like they have finally settled themselves down for the most part. They're still quite close, just a couple of tenths between each of them, but with still 7 minutes on the clock, that'll be about 7 more laps on the race. We could see a few of them just take it a little bit easy. Definitely with how many mistakes we have seen, how many times we've seen cars just go a little bit too deep and end up losing a number of positions. We do see a fight just behind though. I'm trying to figure out what position that was for. It's for 12th and 11th. It is Jared Swaim and Cedric Gibrat. Swaim up the inside. They remain side by side. Gibrat's going to have the inside line now, but it will swip around once again to Swaim, and Swaim takes 11th overall ahead of Cedric Gibrat once more. And it is going to be Swaim, Gibrat, and then Nagel. Swaim is going to want to keep Gibrat there because Swaim is second in class right now. He doesn't want to lose it down to third in class because Riley Downey, unless he makes a major mistake, is going to win D2 once again here. Up to the final corner, and it is Gibrat on the outside, and once again Swaim just goes slightly wide in the wet. There's nothing you can do. Contact with Gibrat. Gibrat has slid the car. He's lost the position now to Jürgen Nagel. So Swaim's defence of having Gibrat between himself and Nagel, it's disappeared now because he's just allowed Nagel to get through, and Nagel is going to go for the outside line on Jared Swaim here. Up towards turn number 1. Conrad Bradbury is not happy with Swaim's mistake, obviously, because he's dived straight back up the inside of Jürgen Nagel. There were some issues ahead. That was Neil Rocks and Luis Henriquez we saw off the circuit, and here comes Jared Swaim. Contact with Luis Henriquez, and Cedric Gibrat is looking to take full advantage of that, but he's stuck behind Henriquez now. Up towards the Parabolica, it is Henriquez leading Gibrat on the inside line. Jared Swaim there on the outside. What is the 724 going to do? He's tried to turn in, and he's pushed off the circuit. All 3 of them off the circuit, and through goes Jürgen Nagel. 3 positions in 1 turn for the man who now takes 2nd position in class. Gibrat pushing Swaim off the circuit before going off the circuit himself. I don't think that was intentional. It's just the speed they're trying to carry in the wet through such a fast corner. Jared Swaim, though, tried to take it deep up the inside to take the position. He's gone too deep, and that will be Gibrat back through. Matt Malone now involved in this fight just behind. Malone obviously trying to recover from his heat race mistake, where he went off at turn number 1 and just went straight on. He's behind Jared Swaim here. Doesn't look for the inside, but turn 1 will be a greater opportunity for him if he can get a good run through the parabolica here. He goes right up to the back end of Jared Swaim. He certainly looks like he's got some speed right now. As we head up towards the timing line with 4 laps to go. Matt Malone is up the inside of Jared Swaim. He hasn't got a tyre there, so Jared Swaim can come across the block, but is he going to? No, Matt Malone goes for it. Cedric Gabat also goes for it. Up ahead, can't do it on Luis Enriquez. Matt Malone side by side with Jared Swaim. He gets the position. It's overall only. It's not for class position, but it has put now 3 D1 drivers between Swaim and P2 in class. Heading up towards the parabolica, and Jared Swaim is looking to return the favour, but just up ahead, look at that. It is an overtaking opportunity here for Jabrat for position on Luis Enriquez. He goes to the inside. Will he keep it on track this time? He does, but the up and over for Luis Enriquez works out for him. He tucks it back in, and Enriquez returns into 9th in class. Across the line they go now. Up towards the timing line. Enriquez to the right. Is we going to see him go over the water patch? No. We saw that earlier in the race, of course. Or earlier in one of the races. Enriquez, though, looks like he's gone extremely deep. He's hit the wall. Heavy at turn 1. Luis Enriquez is out of this race. Huge hit. Cedric Jabbat holds 9th. Matt Malone holds 10th, just behind. Van der Herk looking to get 3rd in class here, past Richard Dempsey. 2 laps to go. Vukovic is dominating this one once more, pulling ahead of the rest of the field. Cod holding on to 2nd, ahead of D2 leader Riley Downey. Van der Herk goes purple. It is certainly drying up out there as Van der Herk around the outside of Dempsey. Is it going to be enough though? No, it's too deep. Dempsey's got that position taken care of. We're getting close to the white flag lap just the next time around. Can Van der Herk do anything as Matt Malone gets past Cedric Jabrat into turn 1. Malone now into 9th in class. Swaim just behind. Is he going to try anything on Jabrat? The two of them have been wheel to wheel for quite some time here. But here is Van der Herk once more. The sun is properly out here. Could we see potentially dry tyres in feature race 2, the reverse, the inverted grid? There is some sim time between feature race 1 and feature race 2, so it is possible that we will see the circuit dry up with this sun. Dempsey holds the inside of Van der Herk. Van der Herk tries that wider line. Doesn't go as deep this time, but is still not going to pay out. As we head up towards the parabolica, can Van der Herk do anything? It is the last ditch effort as Cod swerves heavily to the right, up in front, defending a overall position but not a class position. Van der Herk tries the opposing line. It doesn't work, but Milan Vukovic wins feature race 1 once again. This time here at Monza for round 8. And it is Riley Downey who wins Division 2 here at Monza for feature race 1. Drivers coming across the line, battles trying to be completed as the race comes to a close. But a fantastic race, 24 drivers out on track to show us some absolutely amazing racing there. Let's get ourselves our feature race 1 results then, so we can see how that one ended after 15 laps of racing. It was Milan Vukovic who won ahead of Mark Codd, over 4 seconds between them. Riley Downey won Division Race 2 in third. Richard Dempsey took fourth ahead of Philip van der Herk, and it was Matty Quidland in sixth and sixth overall. Ian Lane then came in seventh ahead of Conrad Bradbury. It was then Neil Rocks and Matt Malone just behind. Jürgen Nagel took second in class in 11th overall, followed by Cedric Gibrat. Jared Swain took that final podium position in class. It was Risto Westman behind in 14th overall, followed by Joshua Lloyd. Matt Gwillim took 16th after the early spin at Parabolica. Zach Gould took 17th ahead of Harry Fox. Edward Ayala took 19th and Eric Yeagle in 20th. At the back of the field was Hagland and Edgar, and then Trotter and Henriquez, both a lap down at the end of that one. We have a quick warm-up here as we have a break between Feature Race 1 and Feature Race 2. Do not go anywhere because we do have one more race heading your way. It will be our 20-minute invert grid. But do grab yourself a drink, some popcorn, and get yourselves ready. We'll be back in just a moment's time. As the warm-up session splitting our two feature races comes to a close here, I can notice that there is a split on wet and dry compounder tyres. The drivers giving it a go to see whether they could possibly get the dry compounds on for this one. I would say no, as the rain begins to fall again and the circuit is wet once more. Let's very, very quickly get the grid for our feature race 2 here. It is Matt Gwillim who is going to be the pole sitter in our reverse grid ahead of Joshua Lloyd. Following that is Westman, Swaim, Gibrat and Nagel. We've then got Malone, Rocks, Bradbury, Lane, Quidland and Van der Herk. Then it will be Dempsey, Downey, Codd, Vukovic. So the top 16 reversed. Then it will be on normal order: Gould, Fox, Ayala, Yeagle, Hagland, Edgar, Trotter, Henriquez at the back. So the top 16 reversed for this one as we get ourselves ready and prepared for 20 minutes of racing, the final race of what has been a fantastic day of competition here in the Renault Clio League. But the lights are up and we are about to go green. It's green here at Monza for the final time. Feature race 2. It's raining. Everyone on wet tyres as we head into turn 1. It was Matt Gwillim who got the pole position with the reverse grid. Joshua Lloyd started in second. He's moved into the lead. Gwillim falling to second overall now. So it is the D2 driver out front. The rain has already stopped, but it started again. It is very intermittent. It stopped again. We will see if it gets dry by the end of it, but I don't think at any point with this circuit that we will see these wet tyres get taken off of these machines. Through the final turn we go. The intermittent rain continues. Jared Swaim has got second in class with this reverse grid. Riley Downey down in fourth in class. He has a big gap, well, a lot of cars to get through to try and get up towards Jared Swaim here. Of course, not as many points on offer in this final race as it's 3 wide into turn 1 and sideways for Cedric Gabrat. He loses that position. And Jürgen Nagel moves into 5th overall, just behind Jared Swaim. Gibrat is 6th overall. He's side by side now with Nagel. It looks like he's able to recover that position and get back into 5th now. But 3 wide into turn 1 was never going to work. It didn't work in feature race 1. It didn't work in feature race 2. Through the Parabolica, Joshua Lloyd continues to lead this intermittent rain-filled race. Matt Malone side by side with Jürgen Nagel. Matt Malone is going to want to dispatch Nagel so he can try and get Gibrat and a podium in the D1 field. Malone looks to the inside of Gibrat, but he has to defend. Van der Herk's on the outside. Gibrat and Van der Herk onto the grass. A lot of time lost. More contact behind Ian Lane getting involved in that one. Matt Malone holds 3rd in class. Off the circuit was Jürgen Nagel. Conrad Bradbury moved through that position. Neil Rocks moves up that position. As the battles continue, as the rain stops again for about the 15th time in the last 3 laps. Slight contact there. Mark Codd and Ian Lane. Lane on the outside of the Parabolica as the rain returns. And around is the 189 to the inside. Everyone avoids him. That was Jürgen Nagel. He went around. It moves Riley Downey into 3rd in class. Jared Swaim is 3rd overall. No, he's 1st overall because Joshua Lloyd is off at turn 1. And around go a number of cars at turn 1. More cars side by side, more contact. As that's Gibrat involved again. A lot of cars involved in that one. Jared Swaim leading D2. Riley Downey 2nd in class. Matt Gwillam leading the way, going for a clean race and getting those bonus points to boot if he can. More issues just behind. That was Henriquez running wide into the Parabolica. Henriquez following Gibrat. He's got Codd up his inside. Across the timing line. Is it going to be 3 wide? It is going to be 3 wide. Gibrat backs out, but he goes back for it. He's looking for the inside. It's 3 wide into turn 1. Gibrat runs deep. And he's into the wall and he's around. Cedric Gibrat is around and out of contention. Contact between Anders Hagland and Luis Henriquez. It has been absolute mental start to this feature race 2, and it is nowhere near over. More battles. Mark Codd up the inside of Ian Lane. He gets that position. Lane looking to try and get the exit here. You can see that damage on the front of Lane's machine from where he went into the back of Gibrat earlier in this race. Look at the front of the field. Jared Swaim leads the way, but it is a fight for 3rd. Matt Malone on the inside. It turns to the inside of Matt Gwilym. The two Matts side by side. And Malone takes it. There's contact behind. Two cars around. The 24 and the 23. That's Mr. Restman and Conrad Bradbury. Around. Milan Vukovic started 16th. He's 4th. He could make his way to the front of this field. Riley Downey is 6th. He's trying to catch up to Jared Swain. Matt Malone leads the D1 field ahead of Matt Gwilym. Up towards turn number 1. Is Gwilym going to try and take that position back? That's a back marker in the distance. 14 minutes on the clock. About 14 more laps at that as well. Matt Malone holds the lead of the D1 field. If he can take this, it will be his first class win of the season. But anything can happen. Gould and Trotter swap positions down in 15th and 16th overall. Continuing to be fights here. The rain, not sure if it wants to fall or not. This is Codd. He's chasing down Harry Fox. Fox has not had the best of weekends. Visiting pit lane. Having issues. He's not got the results he would have hoped for in that 221 machine. Through the final turn. Codd still trying to chase him down. But the gap feeling pretty confident for him at the moment. Side by side behind Ian Lane and Matty Quidland. Lane has got the inside. Is this Luis Enriquez? It is. He's on the right hand side as well. Is he going to touch the water? No, but he gets back across to the left hand side. Is Ian Lane going to try the move on Matty Quidland? He doesn't. Neil Rocks gets past Riley Downey, 5th and 6th in that fight that's going on there. Downey obviously wants to dispatch these D1 drivers. His Division 2 championship rival, the championship leader, is in first. Of course, not as many points on offer, but that does not mean that Downey wants to lose any points out to Swain. He's on the outside of Neil Rocks. He's got the overlap. He's being pushed by Van der Herk. He turns in. It's a lot of speed, but he keeps it perfectly on line. Fox gets up the inside. Rocks gets up the inside of Van der Herk. Fox behind. He's trying to close in and get involved in this fight right now. Not able to do anything just yet, but here comes Van der Herk once more. He's on the outside of Neil Rocks. Up towards turn number 1. Vukovic going for the move up ahead on Matt Gwilym. Not able to complete it. There's contact! There's contact! Sideways! Sideways for Van der Herk. Through goes Fox. Past Rocks. There's contact between the teammates. But Fox gets it. Fox holds the position over Rocks. Van der Herk up to 4th in class. Vukovic cannot make the move. Stick for 2nd in class. But he is up the inside of Matt Gwilym up towards the Parabolica. He's late on the brakes. And a perfect racing line. He gets that position. Milan Vukovic going for the triple. Can he take the win? Can he take the overall win? Jared Swain is just 1.5 seconds up the road, and there are back markers coming into play. Vukovic up the inside of Matt Malone. There's contact. Matt Malone holds it. He's going to keep the inside line. How is it going to play out into turn 3? Turns back into Vukovic's line. Malone's going for the switchback. Can he do it on the exit? He's going to have the inside up towards the Parabolica. They remain side by side, and Vukovic onto the water, onto the grass. Gives up the position to Matt Malone and to Matt Gwilym. Tried to stay away from Matt Malone, and it just ran out of dry racing surface. He's going to have to get back through here. We're halfway through this race. We've said goodbye to Jabrat, to Bradbury and to Yeagle. Dempsey, unfortunately for him, he's a lap down. up towards turn number 1. Gwilym looks to the inside, trying to go defensive on Vukovic. Vukovic says, I can go even further to the inside than that, and he does. It could turn up to the inside of Matt Malone, not quite enough speed. But Vukovic back into 3rd overall and 2nd in class. This fighting is giving Jared Swaim some breathing space out front though. That is Dempsey just behind Swaim. So that is a back marker between this leading D1 fight and the overall leader of Swaim. Vukovic up the inside of Malone. And he does it. He holds that position. And Milan Vukovic moves from 16th overall to 2nd overall. It is 1st in class. Can he hold it? Matt Malone is just behind and is looking feisty up towards turn 1. He's got Matt Gwilym looking feisty just behind him. And they've got Riley Downey just there. Downey's obviously wanting to get involved because he wants the overall race win ahead of Jared Swaim. But he gets 2 drivers. He gets past Fox and Gwilym into turn 1. Riley gets into 3rd. And 1 minute, we've lost. We've lost a driver. Vukovic. What happened to Vukovic? He's gone off at turn 1. There he is. He's gone deep up towards turn 1. So in his defence, to try and hold the position over Matt Malone. Milan Vukovic up to turn 1. It's rare we see this man make a mistake. But Milan Vukovic into turn 1, brakes late. And has to back out of that. Turns to the left to avoid hitting walls. And he's had to get it into reverse. 7 minutes on the clock. Milan Vukovic is 10th in class. He can say that this is a drop race, that's for sure. Riley Downey has made his way past Matt Malone. The leading 2 drivers in this race are D2 drivers, and neither of them started at the front. They have both worked their way to the front. Riley Downey's movement through the field has been especially impressive. Let's see if we can get our most positions gained statistic. Harry Fox is up 10, Hagland up 5, Edgar up 5. They are class positions, not overall positions. But Harry Fox issues. He's up to 10 positions in this race. He was not involved in the invert, but he is up to 3rd in class. Matt Malone holds 1st in class. That is Richard Dempsey, just ahead of Riley Downey. Is he going to jump out of the way here? Yes, he is. Lights flashing there from Downey. Is that to say get out the way, or was that to say thank you? Either way, he's through. 1.5 seconds between Swaim and Downey. Bearing in mind, during that fight, the gap got up to about 2.5 seconds. So this is a significant amount of time that Downey is recovering. It's now down to a second. Riley Downey, he was fast in qualifying. He qualified 2nd. That gave him the lead in heat race 2. And he is closing and closing and closing to Jared Swaim. Championship rivals in the D2 field. And that's Swaim off! Swaim wide at turn 1. Riley Downey moves into the lead. Riley Downey leads here at Monza. In feature race 2, he has moved past Jared Swaim, who has moved down to 2nd in class and 2nd overall. Matt Malone continues to lead the D1 field and could take his 1st class victory of the season. up into the Parabolica. This is the fight for the lead. Downey is significantly faster around this circuit than those around him. He found a substantial amount of time, especially within the last few laps, trying to close up to Swaim before Swaim's mistake. Will Swaim be able to keep up with Downey? I certainly am a driver that is a lot better at following. I can find a lot more speed when I'm behind somebody and I'm following somebody when I am out on by myself, and that was Harry Fox. I believe, yes, it was. After moving up so many positions, Harry Fox goes straight on at turn 1. That moves Philip van der Herk into 3rd in the D1 category. Three and a half minutes remaining. 0.3 of a second between Downey and Swaim. It is looking good right now for Downey, but he's wide. He's wide through the Parabolica. Here comes Jared Swaim up the inside. They're side by side, coming up to 4 laps to go. Jared Swaim is looking to take back the lead. They're giving each other absolutely no room. Who is going to be braver on the brakes and make turn 1? It is Swaim. But a switch over for Dempsey. He's got a great exit, but the corner turns to the left. It's not going to go his way. He is right behind Swaim though. 3.5 laps to go. Riley Downey, Jared Swaim fighting it out for the D1 lead and the overall lead. Matt Malone leading the D2 field just behind. Is he going to be able to take advantage of the battles ahead and try to take not only his first class victory of the season, but his first overall victory? Downey goes deep, too fast, into the Parabolica. He's off the circuit. He recovers, but he's behind Malone and Gwilym. Malone has a real chance to take the overall victory here, if he can hold it ahead of Matt Gwilym. Van der Herk just behind there, getting past Richard Dempsey, who is a lap down. Matt Malone looking towards the inside of Jared Swaim. Swaim wants a slightly wider line, and it closes Matt Malone onto his rear here. Through onto the GP loop. Matt Malone leading the D1 field. He could lead the overall field here. How is he going to try and make this work? It's just 1.5 tenths between himself and Swaim up to the Parabolica. 2 more laps on the line when they come across the timing line next. Different racing lines. Matt Malone trying to go for the better exit. He's got the tighter run, that's for sure. He's got a good amount of speed. He has to go to the left. Jared Swaim defends the right. A little bit of a weave for Matt Malone there. Not sure where he wants to go. But he is solidified on that outside line. He brakes earlier though. He is holding that line. Matt Malone's holding the line. He's going to get the inside of Jared Swaim. There's contact. Only the smallest amounts. Jared Swaim holds on. Swaim moves to the right hand side. Matt Malone to the left. Gwilym follows Malone up towards the Parabolica for the penultimate time here. Matt Malone, can he take his first overall victory of the season here in feature race 2? We come up towards the Parabolica. Swaim goes a lot later. Malone goes a lot earlier on the brakes. He's tried the switchback. A little bit of a nudge from Gwilym. Probably wasn't expecting Malone to brake as early as he did. There's a bit of a gap now between himself and Swaim. We're on to the final lap of this race. Jared Swaim leads the D2 field. He leads overall. Matt Malone leads the D1 field. Can he lead overall at the end of this one? It will be his first class win of the season. Can he make it a first overall win? Someone went off deep at turn number 1. Not sure who that was. I think it was Philip van der Herk. No, he's fine. He was just going a little bit slowly a little bit ago. That's all. It got caught on my live timing. But someone certainly did go deep at turn 1. We're up to the Parabolican for the final time. Malone's having to go defensive. Swain is going to hold the lead if he doesn't throw it off at the final turn. Here at Monza, there's a battle for third. Jared Swain is going to win Feature Race 2 here at Monza for round 8. Matt Malone is going to take first in class for the first time this season ahead of Matt Gwilym. Riley Downey takes second in class as Downey is dead again. He hits that wall so perfectly every time. What a fantastic race. What a fantastic series of races this league always hosts. Let's have a look at how those race results lined up at the end of Feature Race 2. After a reversed grid start, Jared Swain still had to make his way through the order, and he did so, taking the lead. Matt Malone could have just taken that overall lead, but still a victory in class for him is the first time this season. Matt Gwilym takes third overall and second in class, and Riley Downey, he was momentarily in the lead, but he finishes second in class. Philip van der Herk takes the final podium position in the D1 field. Following behind was Neil Rocks, Ian Lane, Matty Quidland, Mark Codd and Luis Henriquez, rounding out the overall top 10. Richard Edgar took the final podium position in the D2 field. And behind him was Harry Fox and Milan Vukovic, who had to recover from that mistake where he went straight on at turn number 1. Then following him was Anders Hagland, Jürgen Nagel, Zach Gould, Lloyd, Ayala, Westman and Dempsey rounded out the top 20. Dempsey falling a lap down alongside Neil Trotter. Eric Yeagle, Conrad Bradbury and Cedric Gibrat all went out of the race early on. What a fantastic series of races these always turn out to be. They are some of my favourite races to watch because there is constant action up and down the field. In those early 5 minutes of Feature Race 2, there was so much going on. Cars going around, positions changing. It was great to see. The weather now deciding that it will be a consistent amount of rain instead of the on and off amount of rain that it was before. I hope you have enjoyed this race though, and be sure to hit that follow button so that you are notified when I go live here on Beehive Bill, so that you do not miss any of the future races. Talking about the future races, next week we head across to Thruxton for round number 8 of the iRacing Renault Clio League, and we end this month at Nürburgring. So do join us for those 2 races. If you want to get down on track and join the rest of this field in the series, then head across to the Discord channel, which you can do so by hitting the panel underneath the Twitch stream, or if you're watching on YouTube, hitting the link in the comments. If you want to find out more information, the current championship standings, the calendar, anything like that, you can find out in the Discord, or you can find it out over on beehivebillbroadcasting.com/Renault Clio. So until next time, I hope you have enjoyed, because I certainly have, and I hope you have a fantastic week. Thank you so much for watching, and we shall see you at Thruxton. Goodbye.
Saturday night, the lights come alive, engines roar tonight. We drive from Laguna Seca to Asha Slibben's course. Clio warriors lining up with full force. Heat race is split, standing starts ignite. 2 laps and quali, chase that pole tonight. Bonus points waiting if you keep it clean. In the Renault Clio League, we're chasing the dream. Clio League Season 2. Feel the rush, we're coming through. 12 weeks, 12 tracks, 12 races first, then feature one. 15 minutes, pedal down, get it done. Feature two with the invert spin. Fight your way back, and the bonus points begin.